Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So one of the challenges you have when you start a bonsai nursery is inventory, or the amount of plants you have. So let's talk a little bit about propagation. Most of the time when I propagate a plant, I do cuttings, and the tried and true soil I use is a mix by Brussels Bonsai, and that seems to work pretty well. But this time around, we're going to do a little bit different. We're actually going to propagate by seeds. The reason is I don't have the variety of species needed to do cuttings. So we're going to raise some species that I do not have, and just some that I think will be popular. And so let's talk a little bit about the soil mix. I mean, we kind of touch upon it, and this is not going to be a soil debate. This is going to be an experiment on how we're going to grow these seedlings. The first thing we have is the Brussels mix, and it's a mix with aggregate and decomposed bark. And then the second mix we have is a brand called Mother Earth, and it looks like to me a mix of peat, perlite, and coconut fibers. I actually don't know how that mix is going to be, but you know, from what I've been reading, experimenting with it, it's a mix that similar to seed starting mix, and I'm willing to try it and see what happens. So anyway, here's a close-up of the two mixes. Again, you know, if you look at this, it's two different things. You got the Mother Earth, which has the perlite, the peat, and the coconut fibers, and then this is Brussels mix. It's got the aggregate and it's got the decomposed bark. Now, if you're using the soil for pre-bonsai materials, I would sieve the soil and maybe put a little bit more of that aggregate in. Okay, so last night I soaked a couple of the seeds. I soaked the black pines, I soaked the white pines, the Zacovia, the trident maple, and the crepe myrtle. And then Dawn Redwood, we're also planting here. It didn't tell me instructions to tell me to pre-soak it, so I did not do it. But also, you also mentioned that it had about a success rate about 50%. So not that I think it's going to be a lot, but it's okay, because you know, again, this is a start of a nursery, and we're experimenting with things. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I know usually I already have the mix done, and I already pre-soaked it with water. I'm gonna punch a little tiny hole into it. This is probably a 3-gauge wire, and I'm gonna drop the seed, and just a little bit over the surface. I'm gonna punch a hole into it, not very, very light into it, just so the seed can drop in a little bit easier, and then recover it with dirt. All right, so here's the process. We'll probably speed this part up so you guys don't get bored, all right? All right, so what was the result of our planting our seeds? I don't know yet. Fast forward a couple weeks from now, maybe we can tell you. But anyway, so when we're doing this process, what do we learn? What do we see? Okay, so what I observe is the motherly earth mixed with the cocoa, the peat, and the perlite. I think that's going to work a lot better. The Brussels mix is just too coarse. You have these aggregates that are huge, and it just makes the seed planting very, very hard. It's great for the roots. It aerates the roots really well. But at a starting point, when you just have seedlings, it may be too harsh on the roots. Only result will tell. So check back. This needs a cold storage for a couple months, so about 30 days. And I don't expect to have these out and growing until probably in March or mid-March. So I'm going to set these aside in my shed where there's windows and let it cool down and let it have that incubation period, and we'll see the results. All right, guys, thanks for watching.